Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I'm Helen and I'm coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 6, and Jasper, who is 3. This is my knitting podcast where I talk mostly about knitting, but also occasionally there's a bit of crochet and occasionally there's some other crafts as well. For anyone that is new or doesn't know, I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and yeah, this is my knitting podcast. Hello to everyone, and welcome back to everyone that watches regularly, and hello to anyone that is new and checking out the podcast for the first time. I hope you enjoy it. What have I got to say? Places you can find me will have been on the screen at the beginning of the episode, just so that I don't have to remember to tell you all about them. Show notes will be down below the video in the drop down bar on YouTube. I will also have a chatter thread up for the episode over in the Ravelry Group, which is linked down below. So if you've got any questions, then feel free to get in touch there, or you can message me or email me on various social media platforms that were mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Anyway, I'm all waving my arms around everywhere this week, aren't I? Is that everything I need for intro-y kind of stuff? I think so. It'll do. You know where to find me. If you don't know where to find me, you can find it down below. Right, so what have I got for you this episode? I'm going to start with a little bit of an announcements admin section. And then I've got I've got one work in progress to share. I've got a couple of new cast-ons to share. I've got an imminent new cast-on that I want to talk about. I'm going to share a little bit of blanket progress, a teeny tiny bit of Yarny Goodness, and then I'll finish off at the end with a little bit of shop news. So let me have a slurp of tea. It's been a busy day. Right, okay, so announcement-y admin-y section. I'm going to start this by just saying that my boys go back to school on Wednesday. Today is Monday the 10th of August. I haven't said that bit, have I? I haven't told you what day it is. Today's Monday the 10th of August. I'm recording slightly out of kilter. And that might happen over the next few weeks because as things are starting to open back up again. So as I said, my eldest Arthur goes back to school on Wednesday. He'll be going back full time from Wednesday. And my youngest Jasper will be starting nursery. He is supposed to be getting what's known as his 1140 hours, which are basically 30 hours of free childcare for 3-year-olds. Well, 3 and 4-year-olds. So that was supposed to be rolled out across Scotland from August when they go back. Obviously COVID has impacted it slightly, but the nursery that he is at have already got everything in place to roll it out. So we're just kind of waiting. He's got a visit tomorrow, and then once we've had that visit, they'll confirm kind of his starting days, which hopefully will be next week. But it'll be a gradual build up to the 30 hours. So I've got no idea what's happening with regards to the hours that he's going to be at nursery at the moment. Anyway, all of that to say that I normally record on a Saturday morning. Now Arthur's football has started back on a Saturday morning, so I'm not going to be able to record then, and obviously with the boys back at school we're going to want to do more at the weekends again. So I might start recording midweek like I used to pre-COVID, but I just need to kind of figure that in around what hours Jasper's going to be doing at nursery and how that's all going to fit in childcare wise and still being able to get work done. So all of that again to say that I am still aiming to do the shorter weekly podcasts going forward. I'm hoping that will still work out, but at the moment I just need a little bit of flexibility as to which day of the week I'm going to record. Anyway, let's get into the proper announcement-y admin-y stuff, shall we? I wanted to just mention a couple of knit-alongs or make-alongs that we've got running. As always, there is the Giddy Yarns make-along, which is running over in our Ravelry group. And that is basically any product that uses at least 50% of my yarn. I don't know what I'm saying. All of the information on all of the rules can be found in the Ravelry group and possibly down below underneath the video, I think. yeah, that's that one. That is an ongoing knit along, and the next quarterly prize will be drawn at the end of September. And then what else was I going to say? Summer holidays make along is also running at the moment. Started at the beginning of the summer holidays in Scotland, so the 28th, or the end of June it started, and we will be ending it at the end of the English summer holidays. So that is going to be running until the 6th of September. And any project, I really can't talk. Any project that is some way tenuously linked to the summer holidays counts. Anything knitting, crochet, weaving, any fibercraft project. Oh my goodness, any fibercraft project. There shouldn't be that much of a tongue twister, should it? Counts, basically. All of the rules will be below the video. We have a Ravelry group for that one with finished object threads and chatter threads as well. We also have Instagram hashtags for that one. So you can enter on Instagram using the hashtag summerholesmal, FO for finished objects, and summerholesmal just to share your projects and chatter and stuff like that. Again, as I keep saying, everything should be down below the video. And then I just wanted to say I have opened in the Ravelry group a little chatter thread for anyone that is taking part in the Imagined Landscapes Mystery Gnome Along. So I'm sure, well, in fact, I know that there's quite a few viewers that are, and I'm sure a few of you have said that you've been influenced by my gnomes from previous mystery knit-alongs. And I just thought it might be fun to have a little chatter group over in the Ravelry group for anyone that's taking part. Spoilers are completely allowed. I have put a warning at the beginning that spoilers will be in the thread, so just share your progress as and when you want to. Photos, chat, what colours you're using, anything like that. There's no prizes. It's, you know, it's literally just a place for us to chat. All us gnome addicts. And then the last thing I wanted to say is just, if you weren't aware, which if you're watching this video you probably should be aware because they'll be all on my channel, but I am currently doing daily vlogs. Throughout August I will be doing daily vlogs, which gives you kind of a little insight into daily life, really. It varies from trips out, days at the beach, whatever we're up to, work days for me if I'm working. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands this week, and things like that. So you'll be able to find those on my channel as well. Okay, shall we talk about some knitting now? I'm going to try and put my tea here and not jog the camera. Oh, that's going to jog the camera. I'll put it back up here. Right, the work in progress I wanted to share is my entry into the summer holidays make along, and I have put a little bit of progress on this, so I thought I would share it. I really need to get these out and do a little bit extra progress. They're living in this lovely little bag from Down Sheepy Lane, and the yarn I'm using is also from Down Sheepy Lane, and it came with the bag. So the pattern I'm using for my entry is this pattern here. Let me put it on my hand to give you a bit more. There we go. And this is the Cornish Cream Tea Socks by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. And I'm really enjoying how they're coming out. They're really fun. It's quite an intricate pattern, which I think is why it's been a little bit slow progress for me, but I've done another couple of repeats since I last shared this project with you, and I am enjoying it, and I'm really sort of getting into the rhythm of the pattern now. So I just need time. I've had very little time over the last couple of weeks to knit. My parents visited shortly after my birthday, and then doing the vlogs can take up a little bit of extra time as well. So yeah, I've not had quite the knitting time that I usually would, but hopefully with everybody going back to school I might get a bit more knitting time. But yeah, they are my entry into the summer holidays make along, so hopefully I'll get them finished by the 6th of September. This is the yarn that I'm using, and this is the Botanical Garden set in the lilac. She did a green version and a lilac version. That's really, really pretty. So yeah, work in progress number 1. I just need time. Have I got a picture of the eventual socks? Yeah, there you go. So these are the original socks. Really fun. The pattern's just on the front of the foot, which I really like, and on the front of the leg as well. So you get kind of half your round is just simple stockingette, and then that's really relaxing. Right, new cast-ons. despite feeling slightly overwhelmed by all of the things that I have on my needles at the moment, yeah, I've got so many things on my needles, and I am at that stage where I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed by them all. I'm hoping, as I just said, that with a little bit more knitting time, with the schools going back, then hopefully that will mean I can get a little bit more progress done on things. But despite that, I'm trying to work out where to put bags. I do have 2 new cast-ons. Now, this one I mentioned a couple of weeks ago because I shared the mini skeins that I treated myself to from Kate Celine. And on my birthday, I cast on, covered in yarn, on my birthday, I cast on some scrappy socks with that yarn, with those minis. They have got well and truly twisted and tangled in the bag at the moment. So bear with me 2 seconds while I try and work out what's going on here. No, okay, fine. Let's just sort that out later. Yeah, well and truly twisted around the needles. But I have got 2 socks on the go. I am knitting these concurrently, and as you can see, this one I'm still on this 4th colour. I will just show you the one sock that is slightly less twisted. So this has got the first 4 colours in. This colour I got a duplicate of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for cuffs, heels and toes, because I've actually got 20 grams of this colour, and then all the other colours I've only got 10 grams for. And what I did is I worked out how many rows I need for the foot of a sock, and then kind of just doubled that, because I need 65 rows for the foot of a sock, and so I thought, well, that'll be fine for a leg. 65 rows for a leg is absolutely fine for me as well. And then I worked out how many rounds of each colour, having 8 colours. 8 colours? Yes, 8 colours, because I got a duplicate of... So the set I got, if you remember, with a set from Kate Celine, had 10 minis in it, 10 10-gram minis in. But I got a duplicate of this colour. So I only actually had 9 different colours. So I'm going to have 8 colours for the leg and the foot, and then I'm going to have the 9th colour will be heels, toes and cuffs on both sock, if that makes sense. So I'll be using 4 colours for the leg and 4 colours for the foot. And I worked out that to be able to do that, I needed to do, what did I say, 16 rows of each colour should give me 64 rows for the foot and 64 rows for the leg, which is absolutely fine. And then what I'll do is when I start the toe, I'll just do 1 plain knit round before I start the decreases, so I get my 65 for the foot. So that is what I'm doing. Somebody asked me a question about these the other day. What was I doing? Had I made the balls into separate minis? No. I'm literally taking the 10-gram mini, I'm adding my 16 rows onto this sock, cutting it off, and then adding my 16 rows onto the second sock. So I haven't separated them into different balls for different socks. Because they're scrappy socks, I'm just adding the colours one at a time, and obviously I don't need to do that. Yeah, so that's those socks, my birthday socks. They are coming along quite nicely, and they're just a really fun, easy, mindless knit, although I do need to sort out that massive yarn tangle. Right, new cast on number 2 is, unsurprisingly, a gnome. As I was saying at the beginning, the mystery gnome from Imagined Landscapes, the new mystery knit along has started, and I do love a gnome knit along. So I have cast mine on. Now obviously this is a mystery knit along. Today is the 10th of August, which means that today clue 3 should be released, I think. I have finished clues 1 and 2. So if you haven't finished your clues at 1 and 2 and you don't want to see, then obviously don't watch this bit. But the clues are really short and people do tend to keep up quite easily with the gnomes. And if you haven't kept up, then you've probably seen spoilers. So hopefully I'm not going to ruin anything for anyone. So these are the colours that I went with. So these 3 colours are from Bakery Bears, and this one is from Lay Family Yarn. And these were all mini skeins that were part of the Lay Family Yarn and Friends mini skein club from beginning of last year, I think. And I just thought these would make a really nice summery gnome. This gnome is called Nikki, and Nikki is a summery gnome. So these colours seemed perfect. Right, as I said, I have finished clue 1 and 2, and we are knitting Nikki's hat. And the big spoiler with Nikki is that you work Nikki, or at least her hat, with the yarns held double, which I'm really enjoying. So this is where we are so far. So you start off with, sorry, I've got loads of ends, and they've all got tangled. What is it with me and ends and tangles this week? So you start off by knitting this lovely garter stitch, which was referred to as a brim. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to fit once it's on the gnome and how it's going to work once it's on the gnome, but it was a really fun little first clue to knit. And then obviously we've carried up the shaping of the hat, and she has you change the colours as well slightly. Mine's quite subtle, but this is colours 1 and 2 held together, then colours 2 and 3 held together, and then colours 1 and 3 held together right at the top. And I'm really liking the colours and how the colours are working. I love this kind of mild effect. So yeah, really enjoying Gnome Nikki at the moment. I haven't even looked to see if the third clue is out yet, so I don't quite know what we're doing next, but I imagine we'll be finishing off the hat in some way. But yeah, there you go. My next new cast on. And Nikki should be finished by the end of August, because that's how the clues kind of work. So that's quite fun to be able to have that project started and finished in the same month, hopefully. Right, I also wanted to talk about an imminent new cast on. And it's living in my lovely bag from Eldenwood Crafts that I shared a few weeks ago. This is one of the ones for the Flower Power Fund. And living in here is a project I haven't started yet. So I am test knitting a brand new pattern from Lindsay at Stitch Create Love, and I just need to find the page that has the picture on and not give anything away. Right, there we go. Let's fold that down. I am test knitting this lovely new pattern. It is Lindsay's first pattern release. And it is a simple lace cowl. It's really, really beautiful. It's knit with fingering weight yarn and kind of a mohair or mohair equivalent held double. And this is the pattern here. The aim is for this to be released in September. I think kind of mid-September time. I haven't cast mine on yet, but I will be casting it on very soon. And it's called the Dance Like No One's Watching cowl, inspired by ballet, and these are the colours I'm using. So I am going to use my Winnie the Pooh minis, which are here. Oops, needles are going everywhere as well. So these are a regular mini bundle in my shop. I don't have any in my shop at the moment, but they will be back in stock as soon as I can get mini skeins back in stock, which is a fun thing at the moment. But yeah, don't panic. These are definitely coming back. They are a regular colourway, and they won't just disappear. They've been very, very popular. There might be a few periods of time where they're not in the shop, but they will be back. So yeah, so I'm using those and I am holding them double. This is where it gets fun to show you. Let's see if I can stick my fingers in the minis. There we go. Oh yeah, look, that works quite well. I'm holding them double with this caramel mohair. Well, it's not a mohair. So this is Cumulus by Fibre Baits. I picked this up from kind of my local yarn shop, I guess, Bar, who's based in Stonehaven. And this is a Surrey alpaca silk. So it's 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk. So kind of a floof, I think people refer to this as, don't they? I don't get along very well with mohair. I've dyed it in the past and not enjoyed dyeing it. It smells like a goat. When it's dyeing, it makes my whole house smell like a farmyard. Worse than dyeing normal yarn. So at some point, I'm going to try have a go at dyeing some of this stuff and see if it is any better in terms of the smell. When you dye in your kitchen, in quite a small house, yeah, this was just too much. But anyway, so I'm going to hold this caramel coloured Surrey alpaca together with these minis for the cowl. So I'm looking forward to starting it and getting it cast on. I just need to take a little bit of time. It uses a cast on that I've not used before. What is it called? Is it an Estonian? It was an Estonian, yeah, the Estonian cast on method. I mean, she does say you can use the long tail cast on method, but seeing as I'm test knitting it, I kind of want to use the method used in the pattern. So I'm going to use, she links to a YouTube video, so it's not a big issue. I just need time to actually sit down with the YouTube video and get started. So yeah, an imminent new cast on, even though I am slightly overwhelmed by all my projects at the moment. Right, last little bit of knitting before we move on to some Yarny Goodness and things like that. And that is a quick update on my Cozy Memories blanket, which has a needle stuck in it somewhere. Oh, I don't know where that needle's gone now. Yeah, it's a quick update on my Cozy Memories blanket because I haven't shown this for a couple of weeks. I am behind. I'm not sure how far behind I am now. A few days ago I was about 5 squares behind, but I've not picked this up in probably 2 or 3 days, I think. So I'm probably nearly six squares behind, something like that at the moment. And if you're wondering why is she behind, what's she talking about, I am joining in with the Square a Day knit along from Sharon of the SCR1 TNA podcast. And obviously the idea behind that is that you knit or crochet, depending on what type of blanket you're working on, a square every day for a year, and then at the end of the year you'll be very close to having a finished blanket. So yeah, I am falling behind slightly. I need to just take a couple of days where I work on this and just this, but feeling slightly overwhelmed with a lot of my projects, I've been struggling to do that. Anyway, let's have a look at what I've added since I last shared this with you. So I've added this one here. This is I think this is a Lolo Did It scrap that somebody sent me in the Hippo for St. Patrick's Day. This is just a random mini, I'm not sure. That's another random mini that I'm not sure about. What else have we got? Quite a few up this end. Oh, this is one of the lovely minis that Cherie of the Ollie and Bella podcast sent me. That is another random mini that I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know where that came from. That one there is my plum chutney colourway. These two were sent to me in a swap a little while ago. So again, I don't know the dyers or yarns behind those ones. This is another one that came via Cherie of the Ollie and Bella podcast. That one is a leftover that I used for heels and toes. I think that's another Lolo Did It. I think that was one of her little Lolos or something like that, that somebody very kindly gifted me a load of semi-solid minis a while back. And I think, oh no, there's a few more up here as well. So I've also added these ones, which again, they're all ones that I'm not 100% sure about. I think that might have been one of the Down Sheepy Lane ones from Arthur's Blanket. That's my Candy Floss colourway. And back to those ones. Yep, so they are all the ones that I have added. It is getting quite considerable in size now. I am very glad that in Scotland we are not reaching temperatures in the 30s. We have had highs of 24 this week, which has been absolutely lovely. So I can actually still work on this quite a lot of the time without melting like a lot of you down south are doing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it still. I just really need to find some time to devote to it without feeling guilty that I'm neglecting other projects by working on this. Okay, that is all the knitting content for this week. I have got a tiny little bit of Yarny Goodness to share with you. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what is coming in my next shop update. So, Yarny Goodness wise, I received 2 lovely Yarny gifts for my birthday, one of which isn't actually yarn, but it is a book. And that is this lovely book, 52 Weeks of Socks. If I pop the little thing off, you can see. 52 Weeks of Socks, which was created by Lane, and it is stunning. I'm sure many of you will have seen this book already, but it has some of the most stunning sock patterns in. It has literally got 52 sock patterns. and it is beautiful. There is such a wide range of sock patterns as well. There is everything from kind of colourwork socks to heavier weight socks. Yeah, just absolutely gorgeous patterns. There are designers that you'll recognise the name of. There are designers you won't recognise the name of. There are, yeah, it's just an absolutely amazing selection of sock patterns. And as usual with anything that's kind of created by Lane or Lane magazine, the photography in it is beautiful as well. So I'm looking forward to delving into this properly and finding a couple of sock patterns to cast on when I've got some others off the needles. And then the other thing, it was a lovely gift from my friend Erin, who is the dyer behind Henny Penny Makes. We met up yesterday for a day on the beach with our children, and that was absolutely lovely. You'll see a little taste of that if you've been watching my August vlogs. And she very kindly gifted me for my birthday a skein of her Leo colourway, which is very appropriate because obviously with a birthday at the end of July, I am a Leo. And this is part of her brand new astrology collection. She's released colourways for each of the star signs as part of her astrology collection. So if you are a lover of astrology, then I would recommend going and checking that out. Astrology is not something I have followed very much at all. I know I'm a Leo and that's kind of the extent of it, to be completely honest. But this is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous colourway. Really, really lovely. I might have to make myself some birthday Leo socks. I think that might be quite fun. Right, that is it in terms of Yarny Goodness. Oh no, actually, well, it is and it isn't. It is in terms of things that have been purchased or given to me, but I wanted to share these, and I thought I would share these as part of Yarny Goodness to some extent because they're something I am going to use. If you've been watching the vlogs, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I've been experimenting with a couple of new yarn bases. And one of those is a wool cotton blend. So this is 50% superwash merino, 50% cotton. And I dyed up a couple of skeins the other day. I don't know how well the colours are going to come across. Hopefully it's coming across okay. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. I think this is going to be gorgeous knit up actually. But it didn't quite come out how I expected it to. I need to experiment a little bit more before I decide whether this is going to make this base is going to make it to the shop. I think it will. I think I've timed it really, really wrong for the time of year. So maybe I will just do a very small run of it this year and see what people think. And then come spring next year, I will do a little bit of a bigger run of it. But I think this is going to be absolutely gorgeous for summer teas. I think this will be a really, really nice base for kind of summer tops and things like that. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this. I might knit myself a sample with this to kind of get an idea of how it feels and how it wears. But I mean, it feels really, really lovely. It feels lovely and soft. I could imagine wearing this on my skin in summer and it being gorgeous. So yeah, kind of Yarny Goodness because I'm going to do something with it. Shop news. Let's move on to a little bit of shop news. So I have a shop update coming this weekend on the 15th of August, I think. It's mostly a restock. It's nothing fancy and nothing new. But I am restocking, I'm looking down at my show notes, assuming I have time to make all the minis, I am restocking the Funfair mini bundles. I will be restocking the Bedtime Stories mini bundles, although they will be on BFL nylon this time instead of merino nylon, but it is still a lovely soft base if you've not worked with BFL before. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I am also going to be restocking the Summer Fruits minis. So they are these ones, which I haven't actually skeined up as minis yet. But that's my Summer Fruits mini bundles. So you've got gooseberry, raspberry, apricot, blueberry and peach. And they're 10 gram minis. So they will be restocked as well. And then I've just got a few other random colourways that are going to be restocked. First of all, I've dyed up some bird watching, which is this lovely colourway here. If I just kind of twist it slightly, you'll get a gist of what it looks like in the skein. But that is this lovely colourway here. And I've dyed this up on, so this is a high twist BFL nylon base. Again, a really lovely base, quite similar to my high twist BFL with no nylon base, my 100% BFL base. But this one has got nylon in it, but I couldn't get hold of the other one because of yarn shortages. So this is a BFL nylon. But yeah, really, really lovely. It'll give really good stitch definition with the high twist. I've also dyed this one up on my merino bamboo base as well. So there'll be a few skeins of that. I've dyed up a little bit more waltzers on sparkle this time because, you know, waltzers and funfair and everything just needs a bit of sparkle. Let's see if you can get that sparkle across. So yeah, we have some sparkly waltzers. And then I'm hoping to have some time before the shop update to dye a little bit more of this up. But I have dyed up some Coastal Path. At the moment it's on DK. So I will be dyeing this up on a couple of other bases. At the moment it's just, I've only got 2 skeins of DK, but I just wanted to check when I was dyeing it up that it was going to work. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Coastal Path is one of the mini skein colours from my Cornwall collection minis, my Kernobis Vicken minis. And a lot of people have requested it as a 100-gram skein. But I needed to work out how to translate it from how I dye it as minis to how I dyed it as 100-gram skeins, which I've done. And it has translated and it has come out really, really nicely, and I'm really, really happy with it. So hopefully I will be dyeing a little bit more of this up in time for the shop update. Yeah, that's the plan. And then I don't quite know what else will be in the shop, but as I said, it's mostly a restock of some kind of colourways that haven't been in the shop for a while, some of the mini bundles that sold out, and things like that. As for what's sold out at the moment, the Flower Fairy mini bundles will, again, they will be back at some point. It's just been a matter of time. I can't get everything done for one update. The Winnie the Pooh minis and the Cornwall minis, again, they will be back. They are not disappearing. Those are all going to be regular collections, and I will be restocking them as and when I get the chance. So don't panic if things like that are out of stock. Yes, right. One other thing I wanted to say with regards to shop news quickly. I am looking at introducing a kind of dyed to order section so that you can get sweaters quantities of my yarn. I am very aware that at the moment I tend to dye things in small batches, and in terms of like the amount of one base that gets dyed up for a shop update, it's quite limited. And a lot of that is to do with storage space. I don't have a massive office. I don't have a massive storage space. We live in a relatively small 3-bedroom house. I don't have a dye studio. I don't have anything fancy. So dyeing up lots of sweater quantities just isn't practical. But what I was thinking of doing is I was thinking of introducing a dyed to order section on my website where I can list kind of all of my regular colourways, and you can choose how many you want, basically. I would obviously still completely recommend alternating skeins because the batch sizes will still be small. I tend to dye most of my colourways as 3 skeins in one batch, and even across a batch, variances can happen. So yeah, you would need to alternate skeins regardless. But it would mean that if you loved a colourway and you wanted to get a sweaters quantity and a sweaters quantity wasn't readily available just in the shop as always, you could order it as a dyed to order. I'd probably have it so that it takes maybe 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, something like that, to give me a chance to dye it up, and everything like that. But you'd be able to make a choice of bases. Yeah, and that's kind of my plan. I'm also hoping to be able to work out a way to offer a discount if you were to order 3 or more skeins of the same colourway, you would get a discount. So like a sweaters quantity discount kind of thing. I just need to work out how to do that on Shopify. That's the fun things, back end of the website stuff that hopefully it will be possible and I'll be able to work it out. Anyway, that's just me rambling now about things that I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to do that I'm just kind of waiting. I really wanted to start that as in August with the kids going back to school, but with there being yarn shortages, I'm a little bit anxious to kind of start it and then have people order something that I then can't get the yarn that they've ordered and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit conscious of that. So I kind of want to wait until stock levels are a bit more stable for some of my more popular bases, basically. Anyway, I've rambled and this has gone on longer than I meant it to. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I will see you all again, hopefully. Well, it will be next week. I'm not quite sure what day it will be, but it will be next week. If you are missing me in the meantime, then I am obviously uploading daily vlogs, as I said. If you are knitting a gnome, come along and chat about your gnome over in the Ravelry group. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.